Another year ticks by and we successfully hurtle ourselves even more to disaster that is currently moving us to the heat death of gaming with Overwatch 2 and the like. And as always, we are here to do the top 5 and bottom 5 of the year, which was very close to almost erasing the bottom 5. Being more selective with games, it was close, but there was a few disappointments. Overwatch 2. So the bottom 5 is really only a bottom 3 that are truly bad, with the other 2 just being disappointing. But let's dive in. None. As I said, I barely got a bottom 5 this year, so this is more than likely going to be a final year where we see this bad games area, and next year it's probably just going to get erased. We got 3 in the overflow. 2 from Have a Nice Death and Cult of the Lamb. Both fantastic games in their own right, with fantastic art styles and extra twists on the roguelike experience, with Cult of the Lamb, for example, having the Animal Crossing style village management simulator part, which was a great spin. However, at the end of the day, they are still both roguelike dungeon crawlers which have been done to death, and thus had no chance of making top 5. And the other one being Cuphead's DLC, which was fantastic, with its perfect 1950s art style, staying from the main game, a fun little extra story with some new weapons. However, I did feel that some of the bosses are a downgrade from the original, with the rock troll and the spider feeling cheap sometimes, and it only being around 4 hours long. It was never going to make the top 5 either, but still good and worth looking at. Anyway, on to the main event. Once again, none. There was not enough to get down to a dishonourable mention, and thus, like the bad games, this may outright be erased next year. While a step up from the poor showing that was Pokemon Sword, it is also a step down from Arceus and continues to show Pokemon just puts in the bare minimum effort with their main series games. A game that wavers between the good and the bad spot, with its plus points in now going full open world, which is rather cool, and the fact that you can take your friends around the open world and do the main story with your friends, that's really nice. And there are more paths like Sun and Moon rather than just purely the 8 gyms, you know, there's like the Titan Pokemon. And the customization is now universal, so the boys can wear all the female hairstyles and female clothes and vice versa. Not that you really need to make that a selling point, but there you are. However, it has more negatives, and while it's not the end of the end of the world, it really does just show that it's a bunch of rehash shit where they just don't care. You've got either rehashed Pokemon that have been slightly changed, like Wiglet, it's just a skinny Diglett, or the regional Whooper that's just been dipped in mud, or it's just an animal now. That is a straight up flamingo. That is not a Pokemon. That is just a flamingo. It is literally a lawn ornament. It is just a flamingo. And then you have the fact that, like, the story is not engaging on any level. None of the gym leaders, except for one, are engaging. The champion is a joke. Team Star is the worst we've seen. Like, it's just a bunch of hoodlums. They're not even school bullies. I'd like to say they're school bullies, but they're not even school bullies that beat you up and steal your lunch money. They've just abandoned the academy and they're just sitting there, and that's it. There's nothing. I didn't think we could get lower than Team Flare, but here we are. So, and then obviously there is just the copious amounts of bugs and glitches like the falling through the world and all these ones. Nice! And I'm free falling. Well, but can we, Midnight, can we clip this please? Can we clip this and get this in catsuit? Can we clip free falling? Just on top of the PS1 N64 graphics, like, I mean, just look at the Team Star textures on the door. What the fuck is this? And then the famous Ocarina of Time tree that makes its return. Like, it's pretty inexcusable. And it's only because, it is literally only because it is quite enjoyable to walk around with your friends like Midnight and Flick in the open world and do the story together. That's the only way it got the honourable mention and not the dishonourable mention, but it can't be put any higher because there's definitely a lot more minus points than there are plus points. However, that is just a mention. Now here's the real main show. The actual real top 5 and the bottom 5, starting with the bottom 5. Like Pokemon, it's not exactly bad, but lands on the more negative side just for not being as good. But worse than Pokemon, with several issues of Ubisoft. And that's the main issue. Making its own XCOM style of game from the first one, it keeps on with that formula, and that's still fine. The gameplay still works absolutely great, especially with the new additions of the Sparks. It makes it feel fresh and adds like a nice little bit of extra flavour to it, and with now some of the characters getting voice lines, it does feel almost like a sequel, but then that's it. And some of the things like the voice acting is also its downfall, as not every character gets voice acting like they gave up halfway through. Some battles are way too long. For example, everyone's favourite Ghost Rabbit of Midnight taking nearly an hour and a half to beat, given that she has 2 phases and she has the whole teleport thing, and she is only the second boss, with later bosses only getting longer. And then there is a few sneaky things from Ubisoft that are a bit of fake marketing with, you know, them trying to pass it off as real, and that's why it landed in the spot that it did, with things like Edge showing up. Edge is a rabid OC. This is not just a rabid version of Mario or a rabid version of Peach or the new one, the rabid version of Rosalina. This is a brand new OC. This is her own. Edge is her own character and was created as her own character to be playable. And Ubisoft really heavily implied that all of the other bosses, like Midnight, would join your team, allowing you access to even more powers to mix up the combat, like Midnight's teleport. This unfortunately was false and disappointing, and was only there for marketing purposes. As well as the other thing that was there for marketing purposes, the hype train of Rayman, showing off a Rayman teaser weeks before the game came out, while still standing by the fact that it was going to be day one DLC, and everybody was under the assumption that it was going to be day one DLC, and they were just locking Rayman behind a paywall, which is scummy, but it's a very Ubisoft thing to do, generating extra sales, with everyone looking forward to Rayman, only to find out he comes out at an unknown date, if ever. Just like Beyond Good and Evil 2, that was coming out at a later date, if ever, considering it's now been nearly 5 years with not one single piece of news about Beyond Good and Evil 2. Good thing everybody bought all of them copies of Just Dance to fund Beyond Good and Evil 2, just as Ubisoft asked you to do so. With Tears of the Kingdom announced, I decided to delve into the world of anime, as several people were saying about the comparisons. Something I will cover more when Tears of the Kingdom comes out, but in terms of Breath of the Wild, it is definitely night and day. Between the barren, empty wastes of Breath of the Wild, where everybody is dead and there's no dungeons and so on, versus Genshin's world that is full of dungeons and challenges and so on, but save that for Tears of the Kingdom. Anyway, at the time we were playing and doing this comparison, we got the Egyptian Desert DLC, and, you know, considering Midnight has an Egyptian theme, it was a very nice reveal, and it was great to see how they fused the old Egyptian style with the Genshin theme of ancient robotics from, like, the past in Canria if you play the game, and we got this perfect blend with both the enemies, like the Egyptian Overdrive Matrix and its smaller counterparts, to the puzzles and the architecture. Everything just melds together nicely. Then adding Sino, the Egyptian dog boy, that has a great ult, turning him full Anubis mode for a short time rather than a one-shot burst ult of something like Mona, quickly making Dog Boy my main, and Midnight and Mephi's favourite, not just for looks, but also for playstyle, with the second half of the desert scheduled to come out in a few weeks, with maybe even more fun stuff to do, and the other really cool looking Egyptian character of the evil Egyptian cat girl that is Dea. So it's all looking good, and my time in Genshin so far has been quite enjoyable, as has the, you know, the actual main thing that came out this year, the Desert DLC, so just slots in nicely to the top 5. Obviously the game came out before this year, so it's not going to get any higher, but because it is a new expansion and it was out this year, I thought that's just a nice thing to kick off the top 5. Oh god, what a disaster this was. Activision did everything in its power to make sure that Overwatch 2 was going to fail at launch, just outright killing the Overwatch 1 servers, saying you needed a phone number to play the game because they're going to record everything you say. It will take 8 months to grind a single gold skin. It being scientifically proven that the battle pass is rigged and almost impossible to finish, with you only able to unlock like every second battle pass for free. So because it's like impossible near enough to finish the first battle pass, like you would get enough free currency for half a battle pass, and then on the second battle pass that you would pay for, you would get the other half of the currency, so you would get the third battle pass for free. So like you have to complete 2 paid ones to get a free one, which is just like stupid, especially because like they still have the entire microtransaction store thing. New heroes have been locked behind said battle pass, and they just deleted all your old skins and said shit like it won't transfer because like look at the new models like Diva. You know, Diva, now she has these big shoes. On the old skin she can't do it. But hey, you legacy players, you get a free Sombra skin and a Jester suit. Nice. Of course, that one, they did walk back and they did import all the old models after just a huge amount of backlash. Day of launch, week of launch, hardly anyone could get in, turning the game into a battle royale in the loading screen.
10,000. Oh my god! Oh my, now that is gameplay. 8,000, 7,000, 6,000, 5,000. I'm gonna win. Game server connection failed. What is that? What does that mean? I'm already logged in, you dumbass shit. 0. Holy!
And from then, it just didn't get any better. Transfers were a mess. Some people had no heroes, some people had all the heroes, some didn't have the new hero despite paying for it, some people did have the new hero for free, some did not have all their skins, with Activision walking it back last minute and saying that some did, some could not even play despite having a phone, some could not say like ring up and ask Activision, because then they changed the fact that it can't just be a phone number, but it has to be a contracted phone number rather than a pay-as-you-go phone number. It was a total fucking disaster. And when things finally did calm down and people could play, it was broken beyond all hell, with characters having so many bugs to the point where Torbjorn and Bastion, weeks later, were completely deleted and stayed deleted for a good chunk of weeks because their ultimates were just infinite. Like with Bastions, the new one where you did that airstrike, you could just do an infinite airstrike forever. Wow. At time of recording, Torbjorn and Bastion are currently back in the game, but Mei is still deleted as Mei is now having the same ultimate bug fixed. And despite all of this, it's only number 4. Because despite the shit show of a launch and some balance problems going from 6v6 to 5v5, it's just more Overwatch. Nothing more, nothing less. It's just free to play, buy a bunch of shit, more of a grind. Overwatch. The Buggo Crypto was playing and enjoying it for a while, but it's just more Overwatch, and then he stopped playing. And thus, despite Blizzard fucking you, nothing much has changed. Despite being a Xenoblade fan, well, not just Xenoblade, I like Xenogears, the entire Xeno series. Despite being a Xeno fan, this fell far down the list, as while I was thinking of swapping this with number 3, at the end of the day, I just could not, as 2 far exceeded 3 in every aspect. The story is all over the place with key things like the conduit and the Trinity processor not explained. Some stuff like how Nia got there, what Ionios actually is never really explained in-game, and when you look it up, it makes it even more of a confusing mess. And then there is Noah. Noah! The biggest dent head that makes me actively hate the story and the game overall, as he just, it's not even explainable how much this man will drive you to infuriation. He owns this world's version of the Bernardo blade, having both big story and gameplay implications, and refuses to use it constantly, causing major characters and minor characters to die, before at the end of the game just throwing it away. What the fuck are you doing? That's the key! Oh, this man, even in the... Oh, fuck off, Noah. Like, Melia keeps the Monado blade safe. But this, fuck off. There we go. Right off the fucking cliff. I fucking hate him. And then that's just him. That's just him with the fucking sword. When we get down to his personality, it's Steven Universe turned up to 11. There's a fucking demon. There's demons left and right doing horrible things, torturing, murdering people. This fucking demon. Oh look, I've sucked the life out of people. Let me play you a fucking song. Even his teammate is like, what the fuck are you doing? And constantly, everyone looks at this man and he's like, what is your problem, Noah? What is your problem? And when it comes to Dark Steven, literally genocided way over 50,000 people in a city, tortured everyone, took great pleasure in making people suffer. By the power of Noah, by the power of Steven Universe, he gets redeemed, and it broke me. Do you see the light in Satan's eyes? Here he comes. Here comes Mr. Universe. All the friends we made along the way. He's changing. He's changing. He's doing it. The white diamond, he is a-changing.
If you could only know what we really are when we arrived on Earth from out beyond your star.
Yes, come on, Steven! I believe in you! He's smiling! The devil! He is smiling! Take Steven Universe's hand! Take Steven Universe's hand, evil man!
I will fight for the place where I'm free to live together and exist as me.
I will fight in the name of rose quartz and everything.
Yes, the devil has been redeemed! Satan has been redeemed!
Everything I've ever known. I will fight to be everything.
Yes, we got the devil redeemed!
The odds are against us, this won't be easy, but we're not going to do it alone.
Play us out, Steven!
Gems will always save the day.
And if you think we can't,
We'll always find a way.
that's why the people
On this world,
Believe in.
garnets
amethyst and pearl
and Steven!
And Steven! He did it! He redeemed White Diamond! He redeemed the devil!
What exactly does this mean? Noah?
Why would we have an actual villain? Why would we have an actual bastard? Why would we have an actual bastard when we can redeem the bad guys? Don't worry, Zed, we shall redeem you too. The power of Steven Universe compels you, Zed. The power of Steven Universe is coming for you, Zed. The redemption will be great. Then there is the gameplay. It's okay, it's more Xenoblade. I absolutely adore it, I love it. The new world looks fantastic. There is so much to see and explore with some of the new combat. That's okay. I personally prefer the orbs over the Ouroboros system. But like, all of the extra bits of combat, like the hero abilities, I do prefer those over Xenoblade. I do like the fact that you can get like one of the council on your team that has like the soul hack ability, where you can take the enemy's powers and make them your own. I do like that when you get certain heroes like Juniper, you can rail grind, or like when you get Teach, you can get the ability to run up walls, allowing you to explore more of the world that you couldn't before. But at the end of the day, and you know, if we just before I say at the end of the day, going on to the characters, some of the characters, some of the heroes at least, exceed Xenoblade 2. All of the side stories, all of the side characters, fucking chef's kiss. When I played Teach's story, magnificent. I loved him. I enjoyed having him in my party, because like you got to go on that journey with that character. Fantastic. Furia, amazing fucking story. Both the pre and post game story. Number 7, amazing. I love the little girl that's like, she's not a robot, but she's been programmed to act like a robot because of the console. But still, I love this little robot girl. Great fucking story. And then you've got the council member himself, Triton. First of all, when you first see him, pirate man. He's loving life, having a good time. He doesn't give a shit that you're Ouroboros. He's just there to have some fun. And you get his backstory. You get like him talking about his friend and how it sucks to live forever because like you can forget people. Oh, fucking emotional. Great. Everything goes right. And then but then it all comes back to Noah, and Noah will say something and you just want to stab Noah, and I hate it and I can't take it. But then then it flips you again. And it's like, yeah, but then there's the 5 High Kings, which, like, they're like Ophion, you know, the real big level 120 super bosses of the world, but they went one step further. They took the idea of the super bosses and went one step further, and they're like, yeah, but if you beat all 5 of them, like, if you beat the 5 High Kings, you get a mission called Ionios' Strongest, where you fight the real super boss, the king of the kings. And like, it can easily take an hour to beat, even at peak performance. And when you actually get the reward for beating him, it's like, ooh, that's good. But then somebody else will come along and Noah will do something, and then it just pulls it back down. And like, that's why it could only make top 4. Like, I want to put it stronger. And like I was gonna say top 3, top 4, top 3, top 4. And while there is enough that exceeds Xenoblade 2, there's also not enough that exceeds Xenoblade 2. Xenoblade 2 still far outreaches 3, and I could only put it as number 4. What an extremely disappointing showing. Scorn is a game that I don't exactly know what went wrong. Over-ambition maybe, mismarketing possibly. You see, Scorn should be a grand slam. See, it starts phenomenally. The Scorn team absolutely nails it when it comes to the art direction, perfectly mimicking Geiger's art style to the letter. It was fantastic. And at the beginning of the game in the factory, and near the end of the game in the temple, It builds a phenomenal horror atmosphere, delving into this unknown, hostile world. But that's just 2 parts. It then just drops the ball so fucking hard with everything else. As again, at the start, the first puzzles, you know, this slidey puzzle, that's strong. That gives us some nice set pieces and some nice moving parts in the factories. But then, once you get to area 3, which is like the basement, it's the same shit, and it makes everything really tedious and boring. But then, the thing that really, really kills the game, makes it bottom 3 things: the combat, Sarah, and the ending. And the price, I guess. See, all the trailers say, yeah.
While there is shooting within the game, Scorn is not a shooter.
But this is an outright lie. There are many sections. There are many sections where shooting is forced upon you. Like the mech fights in the temple. There's no way to run away from them. You have to, the door locks behind you, you have to fight this guy no matter what. So this guy lying, and the shooting is total fucking dog water. You are slow. The gun is so fucking clunky, and it's really, really annoys the shit out of me when you have to shoot in a game that is not a shooter. One mistake that is out of your control because the shooting is laggy and clunky and bad, and you're dead. And the checkpoints are brutal in this game, and you can be sent back easy 10-20 minutes depending on when it decides to create the checkpoint, breaking the whole horror atmosphere. And to get by the enemies, you either have to shoot them, which is probably not a good idea because the shooting's shit, or you have to sit there for 5 minutes while they finish their pathway and despawn. Either way, it's bad, because if you shoot them, you're sent back 10 minutes and now everything's lost. Or, if you have to wait for 2 or 3 big boys to finish their pathway, then you're going to be sitting there feeling frustrated because there's fuck all you can do because the shooting is bad. And then, of course, the medkits are limited, so you can't exactly run in. And then there is Sarah. Now, we just called her Sarah on stream. It's this fully grown xenomorph-like creature that attaches to you. And you see, this is where things should be cool. Because the gun is her tail. Like, when it happens, you know, she grabs onto you. She, like, wraps her body around you. And, like, the tail becomes your gun. And you now have a xenomorph with a gun for a tail on you. You should be as fast as the xenomorph. You should be going like full Doom 2016, being this big, unstoppable monster that is firing fucking bullets from your tail. That sounds amazing. If such a concept was given to any other studio, like Devolver Digital, that makes crazy over-the-top things like Enter the Gungeon, could you imagine Sarah, xenomorph that attaches to you, gun for a tail? Could you imagine what Devolver Digital could do with such a premise? You'd be running all over the walls, doing backflips off of towers into bullet time, blasting everything with your tail as the queen of the gunomorphs. However, in this game, Sarah's only point, the only point of her existence, is to stab you literally every fucking checkpoint, draining your health. And this isn't a cutscene where it drains your health, haha funny. No, this is real health drain. Sometimes, right before a fucking boss fight, Sarah, and there is limited medkits. So like, while you're scrambling for a medkit, Sarah's like, wouldn't it be funny, dude? Wouldn't it be funny, dude, if I got my tail and I just need a bit of a stab? I just need a bit of a stab, it'd be funny. no, Sarah, it wouldn't be funny. And on top of all of this is the ending, the absolute shit ending. It is a bad ending. No good ending. Even if, like, you do the bad ending and you know the solution to get the good ending, i.e. you just use the other guy because you get two guys at the end. So even if you know the solution to get the good ending, i.e. you just, like, use the other guy and you don't take the body out of the door, it's hard-coded that you can't use the other guy till you pick up the body, forcing a bad ending. No matter what, it makes this 6-hour slog of clunky combat and Sarah constantly stabbing you for a pumpkin spice latte nowhere near worth it. So, whatever artsy excuse they want to pull, because, like, you get to a door and it's like, oh, what's behind the door? And that's why they give you only one ending, because it's supposed to be like the artsy ending where it's like, well, you don't want to show what's beyond the door because it's artistic. Some say it's a metaphor for hell, with all of the gore and twisted perversions of man, like the biomechanical boss, and thus it's a twisting of the soul, and thus defacting and defaulting from God's path and God's image, much like Lucifer, thinking that you are better than the divine, and so you are punished and sent to this hellscape. And even if you make peace with yourself, sins still hold you back. And Sarah is not evil, but she is your own purgatory that will keep you in this eternal damnation. Others say that it is sexual imagery, you know, all of the imagery is a metaphor for being born. You are the egg and Sarah is the sperm, and the portal at the end is the pussy. And you cannot go through the portal because it is not yet your time. You have not yet progressed into the baby. You must be cocooned by Sarah and become an egg in front of the gateway for 9 months. I don't care. Shut the fuck up. It's because you did not want to make a good ending. That's the real reason. You did not want to make a good ending, and you could not be asked to decide what was behind the door, like some movies like Pulp Fiction or Inception work. Like, when the spinning top is like, did the spinning top ever fall over? It works because it's just at the end and a question is left for the audience to talk about, but they earn it. They make sure that everything is meticulously planned around the idea of the spinning top. Here it just comes out of nowhere and like, well, it's up to you, it's a metaphor. I know you suffered through 6 hours of shit, but it's a metaphor, bro. Well, there's no story, there's no dialogue, so an ending like that, it's not earned, and it would have been better to just pull a Kingdom Hearts and just say, you know, something like, the impact of Kingdom Hearts means that every heart can be corrupted by darkness, but if you are the Guardian Sora, your light can purify the darkness, and the light heart darkness, and then Xehanort is redeemed and goes to Keyblade Heaven with his brother Aerosqueeze. Oh look, there you go, ending. Maybe my favourite side Pokemon game to date, as something that Scarlet and Violet should have refined, but they didn't. They just took the zone-to-zone gameplay and turned it into open world. Everything else like the crystallizing, gimmicky garbage. But Arceus, while rough around the edges, everything about this game was still great. The idea of taking place in the past to see why things are the way they are, like why the Spire Pillar is the way that it is, that is nice. That's cool. The Lord Pokemon were a great addition, and the trials, and saying rather than outright battling, you're doing things like dodging and throwing food at the Lords, and you even have to dodge certain attacks from like bigger, stronger alpha Pokemon. It was a breath of fresh air and broke up the moment-to-moment gameplay. The unknown, where you have to break down their little codes in your Pokedex to find them around the lands, the alpha Pokemon, the better shiny rates, all of it was exactly what Pokemon needed, especially the new combat that made you think, with the strong style and the agile style, wherein the strong attacks would do more damage but you would miss a turn, and the agile style would give you 2 attacks in a row but at reduced damage, to make you think exactly how you were going to play. While most of the AI don't really use this, aside from a few, like the quote-unquote final boss, like, you know, Giratina. Not Giratina, but, you know, it's a spoiler, but if you've seen Giratina, you know. Imagine if a real competitive, like, person had this, or a real competitive game like Scarlet had this. It would have been amazing. Then they threw it all away. Scarlet didn't have no Lord battles, and they didn't have the strong style and agile style. We just went back to gimmicks where you turn to Crystal and I win, just like Gigantamax where I get big and I win, and it's boring as fuck. Not even Alpha Pokemon. Not even Alpha Pokemon Scarlet. Speaking of competitive EV training, it's super easy. Get a rock, get Zera, Zera licks rock, 10 in each stat, bam, perfect IVs, amazing. I had so much fun with all the new stuff in Legends Arceus, so much more than the bog standard affair we got in Scarlet. Even the designs felt more thought out, and overall just look better. The Lords, like the Lord of the Mountain, Sneasler, and the Lord of the Ocean, Basculegion, they all fit exactly how they should fit. You know, Sneasels live on mountains and they climb mountains with their big claws. What if there was a bigger king of the Sneasels? Unlike this anorexic Diglett and whatever the fuck this thing is. From the atmosphere to the new gameplay mechanics that didn't feel forced, unlike terrestrializing and gigantamaxing, to the new Pokemon designs, to the overall theme and atmosphere of the game. Going back to the past with simple times, simple ideas, with no gyms. All of it just melded together perfectly and created this absolutely fantastic experience where it was just nice and relaxing to go hunting on a day-to-day basis with everyone just enjoying what's going on and filling out the Pokedex and meeting all of the relatives from the past, like Commander Mars's mom. It's just nice. It's just nice. And it was great, and I wish Pokemon would have taken this road. Please, Pokemon, make more Legend games in the future. I want more Legend games in the future. I want more of this. More of this in the future, please. However, it's not perfect. Some of the textures and graphics are still bad, and it can be lacking in music at times. Still no voice acting. Like, fuck, even Genshin has voice acting. And some of the mechanics don't work the best. It was never going to be number 1, but, you know, unlike Chronicles 3 with Noah and Gondor that make me want to just, like, literally stab a puppy, there's nobody or nothing that outright makes me, like, say, no, this definitely has to go lower. Everything is just exactly the way it needs to be, and it works great, and I like it, and like I just want more of it, and please give me more of it, and like that's why it's number 3, because while it does have flaws, it just works, and it's just a nice, relaxing, fun time, and I like that, and I want more of that, so please make another Legends game, and that's why it's number 3. Another utter disappointment, but then again, what do I expect from Bethesda? The premise was so interesting as well. Going around Tokyo fighting demons, also known as yokai, with magic kung fu. That sounds awesome. An R-rated yokai watch, if you will. And it gets even better when you see the designs, like the aircat thing with the scythes for hands. Unfortunately, we got nothing. Ghostwire lets us down in every way. You only fight like 4 demons of Slenderman, Fat Slenderman, Halloween Ghost, and Slender Woman. All the other yokai like the Kappa, the Scythe Ferret, the Wall Man, the Oni are used as one-use puzzles to get one-time upgrade points. As for the game itself, it's nothing more than collecting shit. That's it. Nothing else. It's a dead, barren, empty map of Tokyo where all you need to do is walk around and pick up random garbage like toilet paper and red shoes and other manner of trash. And with nothing stopping you just picking the thing up and leaving, combat is just not worth doing, and you might as well just not do it because it's a waste of fucking time. You can just pick up the item and leave and go pick up the next item, as fighting is bad and maybe even worse than Scorn. Should you decide that you don't want to give Slendy his 8 pages back and choose to fight, there is no magic kung fu, it's just magic finger bullets. It's really a shooter, it's just a shooter and nothing more, and you need ammo for your fingers. That does not regenerate, as it's not magic and comes in 3 flavours. You've got your apple flavoured bullets, this is the pistol ammo, doing minimal damage but shooting fast. Your blueberry bullets, that like hit as a wave and can hit 3 enemies at once, but it's pretty fucking garbage. And then your strawberry flavour, which is the shotgun, doing 1 shot big damage, but you only get like 5 strawberries, so you know, it's not really anything, it's just a glorified shooter and not magic kung fu. And like any good Bethesda game, it's up to the usual Fallout standards, with you falling through the map. Like, are we gonna go to the chest and fight our dead body? Like a blue Akito. Blue baby. Oh. Ah! What a way to ruin a moment, eh? What a way to... Oh, what a tear-jerking moment this is.
It just works, little lights on, it shows people my money flows. It just works, overpriced, open worlds, earnings rise, take my word. It just works, it just works.
What a fucking tear-jerking moment. So let me guess, if I move now, am I going to fall through the fucking world? Yep. Bye, world. Bye. Bye. We gotta do it all again! Oh look, there's the tower there. There's the fucking tower there. Load screens that can freeze in an infinite loop and can cause the game to crash. And that's how you walk out the fucking sewer. I'm back, what did I miss? Nothing! What? Get the fuck out! You missed, no, to be fair, you know, let's give a recap. You missed that. You missed that. You missed that. You missed Bethesda. Literally. Missed that. I'm just gonna leave that there. There's literally no fucking point because it's just the cheap fucking difficulty of everything does more damage. Ah! Yes! 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 I don't know if you can see it. Although I guess that makes sense now, because Rinko can't send you the message about after the end because she's double dead. Because she was... Man, it's a good job I fucking saved! Play it again! Play it again! I don't fucking believe that.
Welcome, the game director of Bethesda Game Studios, Todd Howard.
Fuck you! With no autosave whatsoever, thus meaning you have to restart to back wherever you manual save, turning it into a good old Bethesda game of make sure you quick save quite literally every 2 minutes, because it's Bethesda and if something goes wrong, it's on you to make sure that you were clicking the save button like you're an ADHD child with a clicky pen. Interestingly, this is the last ever game published on the Creation Engine 1, and it shows. With this many bugs, I feel like I'm taking a trip to my favourite Queen's Hive. Look at all them bugs. And now it's going to be interesting to see if the Creation Engine 2 is any better, as it is just number 1 with a new name slapped on it. So I can't wait to see how the country roads of space treat us, as at the time of typing, writing and recording these lines, Starfield is still not out yet, so we are just all waiting in anticipation to see what is going on. However, if the copy and pasting of Whiterun into a new Whiterun in space is anything to go by, things don't look good. Perfection in its purest form. After the mess that was Star Allies, Nintendo went back to the drawing board for something new but classic, and boy, did they find what they were looking for. To quote our previous game creator, all of it just works. From the basic yet creative and colourful level design like the circus and the Star Canyon. Oh, that looks nice! To the full mouth gimmick, being that they're not that overused and it's used in many creative ways, from a car to a glider to a sailboat, to the fantastic idea that your powers are able to be upgraded, taking from the idea of their free-to-play Clash game where all the powers can level up. You can now level these powers up 3 times to make yourself stupidly, and I mean stupidly, overpowered. It's so fun to use, like the fire, going from fire to a volcano to space pterodactyl dragon that lets you fly, glide, and use his purple fire. I love Daddy Ridley, and the fact that Kirby now has Ridley's power as a level 3 that destroys everything is fucking amazing. The gun, from Fortnite to Sea of Thieves to a fucking space gun that shoots giant plasma balls that kills all enemies it touches in one hit and makes you feel like you're firing Big Mom Kaido combo attacks.
Okay.
Amazing, amazing, 2D secret, final weapon and final upgrade post-game for one weapon that breaks the level cap and goes from level 3 to level 4. Basically the Zenith from Terraria, making everything, including previous levels, to find all of the extra secrets that you missed, just all that more. And then there's the sumptuous bosses of, I guess I'm a furry now, to, damn, I guess I'm really a furry now, with the team at HAL knowing exactly what they're doing by putting I have many fans in her bio, to, damn, I guess I'm 100% a furry now, please step on me with your fluffy moth feet, Queen Elphalis. To all the boatloads of deeper lore, like Elphalis being the very first boss to have all 4 primal elements of the universe, not as in water, fire, wind and earth, but the 4 states of matter of darkness, soul, dream and heart, with things like dark matter just being darkness and nightmare just being dreams. But then we have characters with aspirations and desires, like Marx, having dreams of world domination, but then using dark powers to do so. So he is dreams and darkness. Or Sectonia, who was once a little spider girl who had the heart of royalty and dreams to become a queen, and she did. Big B waifu, so heart and dreams. But Elphalis is a special girl, with the whole virus thing and merging with Elphalin near the end. She has the darkness of the virus, the soul of the Ancient Ones, who had the power to create dimensional holes like with the Lore Starcutter, the dreams of infecting the world, so we shall all become Elphalis and live as one perfect moth girl hive mind, and then the heart of Elfinlin at the end doing the whole merge thing. Boom! All 4 of them at once. And, you know, then you have the whole like bigger lore thing that you've got to look into. So you get your 4,600 page lore volume that you can go through if you dive deeper, but on the surface it's just like, hey, let's just go and play with the fluffy moth girl. Like one deeper lore thing, for example, is when you get to the research lab where Elphalis is, and it says, this ancient race had advanced as far as they could hear. They built great flying ships that could cross dimensions, and they flew high into the sky and left this world bound for a dimension of magic and dreams. Pretty much outright saying, yes, humans were the Ancient Ones, yes, they were the ones that made the Lore Starcutter that could cross to the world of dreams and break like holes in the dimensions, and being that our Moth GF was with this advanced race, she got the ancient knowledge, and thus one of her 4 elements of soul, an ancient soul, and that's why she is able to break open holes in dimensions to bring people here at the start of the game. I bring this up as after everyone left on the Lore Starcutter, Moth, well, she got pretty bored while trying to master her King Bowser's power of warping time and space, and eventually found a PS1 game in the lab of Rayman 1, as we even have a nice little thing of a Rayman style callback, or at least a nice Rayman style reference, where our Moth GF decides that once she breaks dimensions, she is going to put all of the Electoons, the Waddle Dees, in cages, and the only way to actually get to her area of the Candy Chateau, the final area, is to break every single cage in the game. So there was some great nostalgia there scoring on with the levels of the cages. Like, oh, it was lovely. It was fantastic. I love you for stealing the Great Protein. Only Mr. Dark can do something like this and actually get that nostalgia going. Anyway, it's time though. We've had our fun, and while it is a fantastic game, while it is extremely creative, it's just a Kirby game. It's still on the surface got the basic story, and you have to go dig for all the extra lore. It's still very easy, and even on hard mode it's not that bad to beat. So like, while it is pretty much the perfect Kirby game, there was still one other that just did that little bit more, that was like, yes, this is it. This is the game of the year. This is the one. But first, as we all slowly succumb to the fluffy moth's virus, and we all realise that we are Fecto Elfless, and we are perfect, we must look at the imperfection, the true virus, the true stigma that must be erased this year, the worst game of 2022. I hand it over to you, Elfless. What is the worst game of 2022? Thank you, Elfless. And our worst game of the year is... What a super stinker with Square's sleazy Mario Kart clone. There is not much to say about it really, other than it's pay-to-win outright scam. It's the usual spiel where we could go on for ages, and it's just a mini-game from Final Fantasy VII made into a full game where you breed the Chocobo and train them and etc. But it's not even that, it's just a Mario Kart clone, and you know, it's got loot boxes and it's got battle passes, and basically it is just a glorified shop with micro. It's just a glorified shop with a mini game attached, because that's all it wants you to do. And it's far worse than, say, your Overwatch 2, as it's just a blatant rip-off, but a bad one. It's a blatant rip-off of Mario Kart, and it's not hiding it, except it's really bad. It controls like dog water, the AI is super unfair, and you don't unlock anything. In order to get anything, go to the microtransaction store, where you can buy new characters, buy new skins, buy a scam pass, and of course, why not buy the crystals, because it's always fucking crystals. But remember, it's the AAA. It's just optional. You can get it all with gold, which will take you months and months and months. So like, no, it's not optional. You have to buy it with crystals. It's always fucking crystals. When is it ever not fucking crystals? And while, yes, 1 or 2 can be earned every once in a while, because that's like the scam to say like, no, you technically can. No, it's not. Stop fucking lying. And, you know, it's the standard bollocks of 100 crystals equals $1. So for 950 crystals, that means that you're going to need the 1,000 crystal pack. And that means that the 1,000 crystal pack is $10. And it goes all the way up to the standard $99.99. What a worthless piece of trash, a waste of everyone's time. And where is it now? Dead. Within a few months, already forgotten. More junk to be piled on the trash heap of creativity's fountain. Anyway, and our number one game of the year is Tunic. Absolutely fantastic. I remember seeing this when its first ever trailer came out all the way back in 2016. At one point, I thought it just dropped off a cliff. I thought it was done. It was gone. That was it. But then, it was a little teaser in 2018, 2 years, and it's like, oh, it's nearly ready. And it took all the way till 2022 to finally come out. And was it worth the wait? Yes, it was. It was worth every fucking second. Every fucking second was worth the wait. The graphics, nice cel shaded, looks like Wind Waker. The music, fantastic. But moreover, the main point, the gameplay. You know, the music adds to this sense of adventure, as does the lighting and the shading, but the gameplay overall is absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. So it is basically the original Legend of Zelda. You are thrown onto an island with no reason why you're there. You don't know anything about the world, and you have to adventure through the world and figure it all out for yourself. And there's no hints. There's no stupid God of War bollocks where it's like you see a water wheel and the stupid head's like, hey, maybe you should turn the water wheel. Maybe Kratos, turn the water wheel. That everybody's made fun of now, like Circle Tunes.
This dungeon has been completely ruined for me. I just want to complete it and get out of here. Well, at least I have this parkour challenge, I guess. Figure out how to get over there.
Maybe if we take this wooden board I just found, it would help us get across. Maybe the real puzzle is to let me live.
Don't do that. This is the better way of doing it. You don't get told shit. You got to figure out what everything does for yourself. And when you do, ooh, it feels good. It feels good. However, the extra thing is everything is written in gibberish, like Hylian. So it makes it harder until you get the pages of the manual. Absolutely stunning. Nice colour images of the manual. Look at these absolutely gorgeous pages, and they tell you what to do. There was one point where I didn't know what a 3-coloured thing was, and then the manual, I got the page and it told me what it does. I'm like, oh, okay. Card acquired. Attack, defense, HP, potion, unknown. Like temporary or permanent? We do not have enough translate. Oh no, give them to the Fox Shrine. if you seek to increase your power. So we take it to the Fox Shrine, from what it looks like, and it says L1 on the Fox Shrine. Try to be this strong, 3 and 3. Let's buy a thing, let's buy more defense. And I think that's going to end episode 2. We have made it to the West Garden. That is genius game design. I have never seen another game do something like this, wherein you are actually playing the game as normal and the manual is built in, and not only can you read it at your leisure, but it also tells you if you've found something like the thing that we just found. What fucking genius game design. And just the fact that this manual exists, like one of these olden Legend of Zelda style full coloured, full page instruction books. I miss those so much. Like, I know that you don't get them with digital copies, but come on, a physical copy. God, I really miss these kind of manuals where it's just like all this beautiful art and all of this beautiful detail. You don't even get instruction books anymore. You don't even get little manuals anymore. It's just like, nah, here's a bare bones case. And just the fact that this is here for you to look at whenever. Oh, it's so good. Like, so fucking good. I love it. And then, not only is it a Zelda-like puzzle adventure, but we also get just that little sprinkling. It's not too over the top. We get that tiny little sprinkling of Dark Souls in there to give you like really challenging combat on the bosses. The enemies, they're fine, they're your standard swing your sword killer thing, but when you get to the bosses, you actually do have a dodge roll active. I mean, you've got the dodge roll whenever, but you won't really need it on the basic enemies. But in the main bosses, you will have a dodge roll active, and you can't just brute force your way through it. It does take some precision dodges and well-timed swings and knowing the pattern of the boss and knowing when to avoid the boss's attacks in order to lay that finishing blow. And it's like, it's not over the top where every single thing has to be super hard and super difficult. It's just that little challenge, that little sprinkling of extra challenge on the bosses in the whole, you know, learn the pattern, dodge roll, hit Dark Soul style, that just pushes it just that little bit further. And it's like, I love these types of games. I love these types of like adventure puzzle games where you just get let loose on a mysterious island with no backstory, no reason, and you have to figure it all out for yourself, and you have to understand what's going on, why it's going on, and all the puzzles. And it's like, I fucking wish there was more games like this, and it was definitely worth the wait. I cannot big ups Tunic more. It is on, to me, Tunic is on the level of Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight, again, it's a big open world. You don't know why you're there. Obviously, when you go through the story, you do, but you don't know why you're there. You don't know why the Silk Song girl is attacking you and is like, well, I mean, we do. She's mad that she hasn't got a Silk Song game released yet. But you don't know why you're there. You don't know why the Silk Song girl's attacking you. You don't know anything about where to go or what to do. But then as you go through the world, you get the stone tablets for these higher beings. These words are for you alone. Oh, now I understand. And then you get like the little puzzles that show you later on things that you can do, like when you get the Void Heart and you can go through the darkness wall, and you're like, oh my god, I remember that. I remember there was a darkness wall over there. Now I know how to do it. To me, Tunic is on the level of Hollow Knight, is on the level of Fez, is on the level of Shantae. Stick it up there with some of the greatest indie games ever made. Tunic is such a fun, amazing adventure where you get to just walk around as much as you want, figure everything out for yourself, and it just looks good. The music adds to each area and gives a real sense of adventure. I can't say anything bad about it. It is absolutely fantastic. I love Tunic. It was worth the wait, and I really recommend everybody gets it. And that's it. It's just going to be me repeating myself. So there you go. 2022 draws to a close, and that is the top 5 and bottom 5. We might not even get a bottom 5 next year, because again, I'm being more selective, and there is a lot of other stuff to come next year, or by the time you see this, as we are finishing this video off on the 7th of January, just like a little week later. I will be releasing next the plans for 2023, where there are going to be major changes to the channel and what we're doing. Like, there is going to be some backlog, but there's going to be some big changes around here. You know, Alistair. Haha, yes sir! I predict there's going to be some real changes around here. Stay tuned, folks. So yeah, I will let you all enjoy this, and I will be back in a few days where I will have my New Year's video, and I will tell you exactly what's changing, exactly what's doing, because there is now me, and I've got a little team together, and we're working on a few things that are quite special, but this is already just over an hour long, so I don't want to keep you here. So thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for a great 2022. I really appreciate everybody that's come out and watched these videos, have watched the live streams, have supported like the Patreons like Deddy, Dark Bluefire and Flick. I'm not going to add the whole Patreon thing at the end of this video, because that's for next year now. I've already give you your shout out, Mr. Dark, Mr. Deddy and Mr. Flick. So yes, it's been a great year, but it's time for a change. It's time for a change. All I will say is, given YouTube's current climate, Let's Plays, like the actual time of archived videos is definitely running out, and the times they are a changeling, so like the changelings we will be changing. But that is for next video. For now, I hope you all enjoyed 2022. It was a bit rough for some of us, still feeling the fallout of the Rona, so I hope you will have a wonderful 2023, and I hope 2023 will be better than 2022 for all of us. So I will see all of you in a few days with the New Year's video, where we're going to go over what's occurring.